We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India. With more than 450 affiliated colleges in its fold operating across 5 zones of the state, GTU, the International Innovative University, your place to move forward.
Hello all, myself Amit A. Kulkarni, Assistant Professor in Electrical Engineering Department at SN Patel Institute of Technology and Research Center, Umrach, Bardoli. Today we will be studying a topic of subject Basic Electrical Engineering, subject code 3110005, and the topic is DC Network Theorem. Okay. So this chapter comprises of a wide varieties of problems, and we will be taking many numericals to understand the concept of each theory. At the starting, we will be starting with the very basic topics like resistance, inductance, capacitance, basic elements, types of sources. So let us see what we will be studying. So we will be studying the electrical circuit elements R, L and C. We will be also seeing the sources, then the basic principles like KCL and KVL, and we will see some numericals. Then we will be going for superposition theorem, Thevenin theorem and Norton theorem. This whole topic will be covered in 4 parts, where I will be teaching you this much portion in part 1. Then we will be attempting for numericals in part 2, and this portion will be part 3 with numericals. Superposition theorem will be taught with numerical. Similarly, Thevenin theorems will be taught with numerical, that will be taught in part 4, and similarly Norton's theorem will be taught in part 5, that will be also taught with a numerical. So let us begin. So what is an electric circuit? Whenever we study electric circuit elements, we should know what is electric circuit. So an electric circuit can be defined as a combination of interconnection of different elements. So you can say that you can have a source, you can have various elements which are connected in series or parallel. Okay, they can be a combination of all the elements, and this combination must be closed such that it forms the interconnection of the elements, and this can be said as a electric circuit. Now this circuit can be open or closed. It is not necessary that all circuits are closed. Some can be open, some can be closed, but an electric circuit is just a combination of different elements. Then electric charge. So charge is an electrical property of atomic particles of which matter consists. This is measured in coulombs. Okay. Next is electric current. Electric current is the rate of change of charge. So that's why I said I took this topic charge. So from charge, electric current can be understood. Charge is rate of change of charge. So you can understand it by a derivative of charge with respect to time, can be said as electric current. It is measured in amperes. So I is equals to delta Q by delta T. Next, voltage. Voltage is the energy required to move a unit charge from reference point to another point. It is measured in volts. So it can be said as energy that is consumed to bring a unit charge from reference point to another point. Next, resistance. So resistance is, it is the ability of an element that resists the flow of electric current. So resistance always tries to oppose the flow of current. Okay, and it is measured in ohms, and the symbol of R is in ohms, and this is the symbol of R. Okay, it is measured in this way. So it shows that it creates a disturbance in the flow of current. So that's why you can say that it is showing this type of behavior. It will not allow smooth current to flow easily. Okay. Next is inductance. So inductance, it is the property of an element that opposes sudden change in current. So this property of a material says that it will not allow sudden change in current. Means that suppose initially there was 2 ampere in the circuit, and if there is sudden rise of current, then if you place an inductor, then it will not allow that sudden rise in current to occur. Okay, it will make it gradually to increase. It is measured in Henry, and symbol is of L is in this way. Okay. Next is capacitance. So capacitance, it is the property of an element that opposes sudden change in voltage. So similarly, as there is inductance for current, similarly there will be capacitance for voltage. So voltage change is not allowed suddenly when you place a capacitor in circuit. So it is measured in farad. So it should be understood that most probably whenever you talk about voltage, these elements decide their position also. So if you talk about current, then the inductor would be placed in series in order to control the rapid rise of current. Similarly, the same way capacitor also tries to control the rise in voltage or decay in voltage, and it has to be placed in parallel to the element. This is the symbol. Capacitor, usually you have already studied in the 12th science. It consists of a dielectric material which is placed between the two metallic plates. These are the equivalent circuits. When resistances are connected in series with the other resistance, then the total equivalent resistance will be addition or summation of all the resistances placed in series. So this is series connection of resistance. Next is parallel connection. So if you place resistances in parallel, then what will happen? You have to find the equivalent resistance. Then 1 upon R equivalent will be inverse of each resistance and their summation. So you can say that summation of inverse of each resistance can be said as equivalent resistance of that parallel circuit. Similarly, if inductors are placed in series, they will follow the same method of resistance calculation. But this would change if you have a mutual inductance. Okay, if there is a dot sign shown, it means that these inductors are coupled. So when you couple an inductor, then what will happen? Coupling will cause mutual inductance to occur and the formula will change. Similarly, if inductances are connected in parallel, then the equivalent would be same as the resistance equivalent, but instead of resistance you just have to replace them by the respective inductances. Now in capacitance the case would be reversed. When you place capacitors in series, then what will happen? Their equivalent is equals to parallel equivalent of resistance. Okay, so it means that if you connect capacitors in series, you have to remember the resistance equation of parallel connection. So it is 1 upon R equivalent. The same way over here, for capacitors connection in series, it will be 1 upon C equivalent, that will be equals to inverse summation of all the capacitors that are connected in parallel. And if capacitors are connected in parallel, then in that case you have to remember the resistance equation which was connected in series. So over here you can see it was just summation of all the resistances which were connected in series. The same way over here in capacitors, when they are connected in parallel, then it will be summation of all the capacitance that would be connected in parallel. So these are the equivalent of each element. When you connect them more than one, then you can find the equivalent element's value. Next is voltage and current source. So what is source? First of all, so source is an element that gives energy to electric circuit. So it supplies an energy to the circuit, because whenever we talk about source, there would be load which would be consuming some energy to give some desired output. So to get some desired output, some energy would be required. That energy is given by this source. Okay. Now these sources are of different types. So let us study the types of sources. So this source is classified into two parts. One is independent, then fortunately other would be dependent. Okay. So what is independent source? So independent source is a type of source whose value is not dependent on any voltage or current in the circuit. So independent sources are those sources whose value is not dependent on any voltage or current present in any of the elements. Okay. It has constant value. This independent source is further classified. Okay. So we will study first the second part, that is dependent source. So we saw that independent source is not dependent on any parameter. But what is dependent source? It is a type of source whose value is dependent on any voltage or current which is present in the circuit. Now independent source is further classified into voltage source. So it is a source whose voltage is constant at between the two terminals. And current similarly, so in current source would be, it is a type of source which provides constant current in the circuit. Now let us see about dependent sources. So dependent source is divided into four parts, which is current dependent current source, current dependent voltage source, voltage dependent current source, and voltage dependent voltage source. So it means these are the four combinations which are possible, which are made, and this we will be studying in the next slide, that what is this current dependent current source, what is this current dependent voltage source. So the name itself suggests that the last two words define the types of source, current source or voltage source. The first two terms define you the dependent quantity. So first two terms is current dependent or voltage dependent. So it defines that that source is dependent on either the current quantity or voltage quantity. So let us see this in brief. So over here first we will talk about current dependent current source. So over here it is saying that this is CDCS, short form of current dependent current source is CDCS, and it is shown by this symbol, an arrow sign with the outwards you can write that N times Ix. It means that it is dependent on some other current, and the source is also shown by an arrow. It means it is a current source. So I have shown here a circuit where you can see a supply is there, and there is a series resistance which is in which there is some Ix current flowing, and then there is some resistance, and then over here in resistance I have connected a current dependent current source where I have written N times Ix. It means if this Ix changes, then over here current flowing in this resistance will also change. Okay, so suppose for example Ix is 5 ampere and I say that it is 2 Ix, it means that if here 5 ampere is flowing, then here 10 ampere will be flowing. Okay, so this shows that dependent quantity is current, and as the arrow sign is there, it shows that it is a current source. Next is current dependent voltage source. So dependent quantity is still current, but instead of current arrow sign, now there will be a voltage polarity. Okay, so that much only change. Okay, you can see here instead of arrows, here positive and negative sign is shown, which means that this is a voltage quantity. Okay, so it means that the source is now voltage source, but it is still dependent on current. Okay, over here I have shown here in the circuit, Ix is the current which is flowing in this resistance, and this change in current will cause change in current value over here also, but the source which is present here, that will be voltage. So change in current will change the voltage which will be connected in series with this resistance. Okay, so change in current will cause change in voltage, that can be said as current dependent voltage source. Next source is voltage dependent current source. Okay, so now what will happen, instead of Ix present which is present over here, now they will be replaced by voltage, because this is now voltage dependent. So over here what will happen, now suppose this R voltage across this R is Vx, which is shown by this polarity. Now this source is current source because it is shown by an arrow, and over top I have written n times Vx, which means that this current source is dependent on this Vx quantity. This Vx is voltage which is present across this resistance. Okay, so it means if voltage change, then this voltage value will change, n times Vx value will change, and this will change the current which will be flowing through this resistance. Okay, which means that change in voltage will cause change in current which will be flowing in this resistance. So that's why this can be said as a voltage dependent current source. And the next is voltage dependent voltage source. So what will happen in this source? So this is dependent on voltage, and the source itself is also voltage. Okay, so over here what will happen? Change in voltage will change the voltage which is connected in series with the resistance. Okay, next is a basic law which everyone should know. So Kirchhoff's law is divided into two parts: Kirchhoff's first law and Kirchhoff's second law. So Kirchhoff's first law is that it states that current flowing into a node must be equal to a current flowing out of it. Okay, which it means, again we will read this statement. It states that current flowing into a node must be equal to a current flowing out of it. So first of all, what is node? Node means a point where more than 2 or 3 electrical wires meet. Okay, they can be said as a node. Okay, so over here you can see this point can be said as a node, and you can see current flowing into node must be equal to current flowing out of node. So over here you have 6 current arrows shown by an arrows, where some currents are going inside this node and some currents are coming out of this node. So I1 is incoming current, I2 is outgoing current, I3 is incoming. So I think this connection, you can assume that the neighboring currents are complement to each other. Okay. Complement means exactly opposite. Okay. So I1 and I6 is opposite, I6 and I5 is opposite, I5 and I4 is opposite. So all currents are in opposite direction to each other. Okay, so which means that I can write that it states that current flowing into nodes. So into nodes are I1, I3 and I5. Okay, so summation of incoming currents will be equals to outgoing current. So you can say that outgoing currents are I2, I4 and I6. So these incoming current, okay, you can write here that incoming current summation, okay, summation of incoming current will be equals to summation of outgoing current. Okay, I will write here that summation of incoming current will be equal to summation of outgoing currents. Okay, or you can say that summation of all currents in at a node will be equals to 0. If you take this on this side, then you can say that this whole equation will be equals to 0. Okay, that way also you can define. Okay, so this is your Kirchhoff's first law. Okay, so what is Kirchhoff's second law? So Kirchhoff's second law states that sum of all voltages around any closed loop in a circuit must be equals to 0. Okay, so it means that in a given circuit, if you add all the voltage sources and the drops across each element, then you will get that the summation of all these terms will be equals to 0. Or you can redefine it as summation of all the voltage sources which are present in the circuit would be equal to summation of all the drops which would be present in the circuit. Okay. So let us take this. In a given loop, you can see here in this given loop, if you add all the voltage, over here I have taken two voltage sources, so V1 and V2 will be equals to drops, will be equals to their drops. Okay, so this source and this source, when they are added, that addition would be equals to the summation of these drops. Okay, so you can write that V1 minus IR minus V2 minus I2. So suppose this current is same, so here I will write I2. Okay, so let me erase everything. Let us rewrite. So over here you can say that remove this. Suppose I current is flowing here. Okay, I current is flowing here. So you can write that V1 minus I into R minus V2 minus I into R will be equals to 0. So how to write a KVL equation? It is very simple. You can have to just take the polarities and maintain the polarities. Okay, whatever rule you take must be followed till the all the loops are covered. Okay, suppose you take outgoing current as the term, then you can take that as a solution for whole circuit. So I am taking here the polarity at which current comes out would be considered. Okay, so over here I am considering that current is coming out from this positive polarity, so plus V1. Now resistance, it would be like this, plus minus, so it would be coming from this minus term, so it will be minus I into R, and over here again this will be coming out from minus, means that is negative polarity, so it will be minus V2, and similarly minus IR. Okay, minus IR, so this would be equals to 0. So you can make your equation by your own method. You can also go with the negative sign, and but I have taken this, and I suggest also to use this method. It would be easy to write equations. Okay, because I have taken all the elements which are other than voltage sources as negative sign. Okay, it means that they are drops, so drops are always represented by negative signs. Okay, drops are always represented by negative signs, and now it depends on the source and their polarities. So if it is a source, I have to just look for the polarity at which current leaves. So I have taken the current leaves over here at positive polarity, so it will be plus V1, and over here V2 current leaves at negative polarity, so it is minus V2. Okay, I hope that writing KVL equation is not a tough job. Okay, it is very easy. Now in part 2 we will be seeing the analysis of simple circuits. Okay, we will be seeing the analysis of the simple circuits where we will be solving KCL, KVL, and some source transformation method which would be used in solving complex circuits, and we will also solve numericals with voltage divider and current divider, which will cover most of the topics that would be helpful to you in solving a new circuit, and that would help you increase your chances for solving the numericals that are asked in exam. Thank you.